After a pretty stacked few weeks of new PlayStation 4 game releases, this week is definitely quieter in terms of big budget titles. However, there are some really interesting games being released tomorrow that I want to highlight. 3 games in particular, and these games are hardly getting any attention whatsoever. A lot of you guys are probably unaware of each of these games coming out tomorrow. All of them are downloadable titles. They're gonna be budget titles as well. Maybe you don't want to pick them up right away on day one as your backlog is huge right now, but keep these games on your radar. Maybe add them to your wish list, and down the line, when your backlog empties up a little bit during the summertime, if it's a dead period for new games, these are some really cool games you can go back and check out. We've got a really interesting atmospheric indie title, we've got a pretty cool shoot 'em up, and we've got an RPG coming from a Chinese studio. That's super interesting, and we'll be taking a look at all of that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Kicking things off, this is a game that I've been following a little bit, and now that it's releasing tomorrow, I've really honed in on it, and it's definitely captured my interest, and that is Far Lone Sails. So Far Lone Sails is an atmospheric indie adventure game, and it's super interesting. The art style is a little drab and dark, and it gives me a lot of vibes of, say, a game like Limbo. And of course, if I'm comparing a game from presentation and aesthetics to Limbo, you know that's me saying something incredibly positive. The game itself has you traverse a dried out seabed littered with the remains of a decaying civilization. Keep your unique vessel going, overcome numerous obstacles, and withstand the hazardous weather conditions. How far can you make it? What will you find? And what mysteries await you? Far Lone Sails is a vehicle adventure game. In a unique vehicle, you travel across a dried out ocean following the tracks of a once thriving civilization. Through an array of roadblocks and through hazardous weather, you need to keep your vessel going. Where will this journey take you? And are you the last of your kind living in this post-apocalyptic world? Some of the key features the game touts: master your vessel. The gameplay is centered around this vehicle, and it's a big element. You'll maintain it. Be mindful of the fact it's just numerous obstacles and natural hazards. There aren't all of these enemies rushing you down, and even though it's at a post-apocalyptic world, it's just that you're fighting numerous obstacles and natural hazards. I think that's a super interesting take on the post-apocalyptic formula. You'll discover a unique world, explore a desolate, dried-out seabed, follow the trails of your people, and find relics and buildings that tell the story of a civilization on the run. I imagine that this is gonna be a game that doesn't really slap you in the face with a story, but it has more intricate storytelling that really leaves you to your own devices. And I think for a game like this, that'll definitely work. It's out an experience that's an atmospheric journey. Let the sky full of clouds pass by and head the wind that drives your sails towards the horizon. And again, it's a post-apocalyptic world, however, a zombie-free post-apocalypse. It's just you and your machine versus the big nothing. That's kind of more eerie than anything. It's just the big nothing, and that premise really captivated me. Now, this game's actually already been released on PC. It's finally making the transition to the PlayStation 4, and it was received very, very well on PC. The game's got an 80 on Metacritic, but if you head on over and look at the Steam reviews, it's been received very positive, with 92% of the Steam user reviews being positive. That's across 2,862 user reviews. The game was released at a budget price of $14.99, so right away, that's a very palatable price point. And this is a game, again, hardly getting any attention. It didn't really resonate at a mainstream level when it was released on PC. I imagine that it's not going to take the gaming world by storm tomorrow, even if you don't pick it up day one, and I can understand why you don't. Add this one to your wish list. We already know it's a pretty good game, and down the line, I think you guys will be rather compelled by it if you do choose to wait a little bit. Next up, we have the shoot 'em up Bullet Hell and Anger Force Reloaded. Anger Force Reloaded is touted as an action-packed, vertically scrolling shoot 'em up game that plays homage to the classics of 90s arcades. It's a high-octane experience that's set against the backdrop of a 19th century human world that has seen the outbreak of a robot rebellion. The game uses an original cartoon comic art style, and right away when you look at this game, I was compelled one way by Far Lone Sails, but I'm compelled as well by the presentation of Anger Force Reloaded. It's extremely charming in design, and it was created using traditional 2D technology combined with a freeform deformation technique. Character animation sequences are rich in detail. Characters throughout the game can be improved and enhanced through randomly generated abilities, with choices impacting your entire stage progression. Choose from dozens of upgrade choices to complement your character's special abilities, thereby creating a unique and personal playstyle. So a game with a lot of variety, and a game with a mechanic like this that would lend itself to a lot of replayability. The game also has leaderboards that allow you to compete for high scores, while replays can be recorded and shared for maximum gloating. The game also features a local co-op mode that will enable you to explore the story alongside your friend. That is awesome. Local co-op is something that can be seen as a little bit of a dying breed, but great to see Anger Force Reloaded does have that. The game's got 7 elaborate stages and over 10 crazed bosses to defeat, 4 original characters, each with 2 special abilities and 1 powerful bomb, a roguelike randomized ability system. Again, you'll be able to create your own unique playstyle by mixing and matching your character's abilities abilities, explore the story behind each character and the secrets surrounding the enemy legion, more than 20 original music tracks, and you can show off your exciting gameplay to other players and interact with them through their online replay system. Another game that's already been released on PC got a very positive reception over there. 90% of the 229 user reviews are positive, released all the way back in September of 2017. Finally making the transition to the PS4, the game's priced at a very palatable $9.99, and by the way, the studio that made this game, Screenbox Studio, is also working on another very interesting game as we speak, and that is Ancient Abyss. That's a game I'm definitely going to be covering in the future, but a rogue Zelda game where you explore mysterious and hidden events in a randomly generated maze. It's got a super slick presentation, but that's going to be available sometime later in 2019. That game really caught my eye, but Anger Force Reloaded will be available tomorrow. And lastly, here's one that I'm also excited to make its way to the PlayStation 4, a Chinese RPG and Chinese Paladin, Sword and Fairy 6. The Legend of Sword and Fairy is touted as a fan-favorite RPG series from Softstar Entertainment, undisputedly the most beloved RPG series in Greater China. Since the first title in the series was released in 1995, 7 titles in total have been released, with Sword and Fairy 6 as the 8th and latest adventure. The game has some awesome character designs. Visually, it looks pretty stunning as well. Gameplay-wise, the game touts a dual combat system featuring a fusion of real-time and turn-based dual combat modes, with both modes being able to be freely selected by the players. You've got combat formation that adds more variety to enemy battles. In normal combat, players can control one character and use formations to execute skills to break through enemy defense or deal damage. Players can go for commands for things such as focus attacks, priority to heal, etc. So a lot of strategy in that regard. A variety of different difficulty options as well. You've got an easy, normal, and hard. Hard is only playable, however, through the first playthrough. Players can also lower the difficulty during gameplay. There's event minigames, reputation, which is awarded by completing quests from NPCs, etc, etc, etc. All the elements that you would expect out of a compelling RPG, those are definitely here, but what about the story? Well, the story sounds rather compelling as well. Since the birth of the ancient god Shen Nong, the 9 spirits of Jiquan have anchored the heavens and earth. Each of them possess supernatural powers, and each are a fountain of energy and life for the universe. In the War of the Three Tribes, the beasts were defeated by the coalition of the human gods. The tribe of the beasts retreated to the demon world, and since then, gods, demon, and men have lived in isolation. After the war, Shen Nong and the Jiquan disappeared from the world. As time flowed on, the legend was lost. 2 characters arrive in the West Side searching for something they had lost. What they will find instead is an ancient secret uncovered elsewhere. A gargantuan slumbering beast awakens in the sea, soaring to the sky and bewildered at the voice in its head. There's a martial world faction, struggle for control, true martial alliance, risen soul saints, Hangtao society. It seems like this game has a lot of layers to its story. There's a wide variety of different characters. Another game that's been released on PC had a generally mixed reception, but we're going back all the way to 2015, and some of the reviews were actually quite positive. Unfortunately, it does seem like this game has shoddy translation, which is always a major problem. I don't even know how games get through to the point of being released with shoddy translation, but hopefully it's coherent enough for us to understand the entirety of the story. The PC version was released all the way back in 2015, so hopefully they've made some progress on that end and the translation was improved. We'll find out, as again, Sword and Fairy 6 is due out tomorrow. And that concludes this video. Again, I want to continue highlighting these lower key titles that really go under the radar. You're not going to see a lot of coverage on far loan sales and games like Sword and Fairy 6. However, while they might not be games that you are going to buy right away on day one, a lot of games are released on the PlayStation Store, and it is getting to the point where some of these games come out and then they are completely forgotten about within a couple of months. I want to make sure there's a way for you guys to track all of these games, at least keep them on your wish list, and down the line, if they do go on sale, you can pick them up then, but expect more coverage of these smaller niche titles, and I'll be bringing them to you guys weekly. That's going to conclude this video. Make sure you sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, and let me know, do any of these games interest you? For the moment being, I know a lot of you guys are busy with games like Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Maybe you're playing The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel after I blabbered on about it ahead of that game's release, but again, titles to at least have on your radar. That's gonna wrap up this one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.